Yesterday, I told you about the push towards war with Iran that's being orchestrated by the Trump administration. And of course, it's being done with the very eager assistance of the very war hungry National Security Advisor, John Bolton, who's actually been trying to go with Iran since he was in the George W. Bush administration. Unfortunately, however, British intelligence is now directly undermining Donald Trump's narrative, pointing out that there simply is no increasing threat from Iran, and that in fact, the majority of the aggression currently in the US Iran face off is coming from the American side, from the Trump administration, not from Iran. And sadly, I've got to do my necessary disclaimers. I am not pro Iran in the sense that I do believe that Iran is in many ways a bad faith actor. I don't want Iran to have nuclear weapons. I do believe that the world is less safe if Iran has nuclear weapons. But I also exist in the real world, and I'm not going to make things up. And Iran is not the one making misstep after misstep in the last year. Remember that Barack Obama signed the Iran nuclear deal, and Iran stuck to that deal. And in comes Donald Trump and says, we're voiding the deal, period. Trump then goes even further and says, I think we're going to do some more sanctions on Iran. So Iran has reacted to this unprovoked aggression by the United States by saying, OK, if you're voiding our deal and you're sanctioning us, then we'll resume some nuclear development. I mean, why not? And immediately the Trump administration has started to use that to push for war. Trump has been presented with a plan to send 120,000 troops to the region. By the way, does he need congressional approval for that? Because when it was Obama deciding about military mobilization, Trump regularly tweeted that the president needs to get congressional approval for that. That's a question which we may have to explore in more detail very soon. Trump foments the aggressive rhetoric, and it is starting to smell like Iraq. It's starting to look and sound like the lead up to the Iraq war. But then in comes British intelligence yesterday, our ally, and says there's no increased threat from Iran in Syria. There's no increased threat from Iran in Iraq, which directly contradicts what the Trump administration has been touting and repeating. And this is coming from the top British general in the United States-led coalition against ISIS. And this is key because this is the claim that's made by the Trump administration to start setting up an increased military presence in the region, that Iranian-backed forces are more and more of a threat in the region. And immediately after this top British British military officer made the statement, U.S. Central Command says, no, British intelligence is just wrong, once again putting Trump's opinion in direct conflict with the intelligence of our allies and sometimes of our own intelligence agencies, quite frankly. Here's a quote from Major General Christopher Geika, who said, no, there has been no increased threat from Iranian-backed forces in Iraq and Syria. We're aware of that presence clearly, and we monitor them along with a whole range of others because that's the environment we're in. We are monitoring the Shia militia groups. I think you're referring to carefully, and if the threat level seems to go up, then we'll raise our force protection measures accordingly. Trump immediately dismissing this as fake news. Lovely, right? And immediately this is starting to take shape, and it's looking a lot like that pre-Iraq war period during the George W. Bush administration. The difference being that hopefully this time there will be more prominent elected officials who will be loudly against it. Bernie Sanders, for example, already tweeting, quote, the United States Congress must do everything it can to prevent the Trump administration's attempts to put us on the brink of a catastrophic and unconstitutional war with Iran. Senator Elizabeth Warren also tweeting, quote, we cannot let the Trump administration drag us into yet another war in the Middle East. This is exactly why the president doesn't have the constitutional authority to declare war. That's Congress's job, and that's why I'm supporting this legislation to prevent a war with Iran. Understand, Trump is trying to start a war, and one of our biggest allies, Britain, is not on our side on the basis for that war and is in total disagreement about who the aggressor is. Okay, our ally, the UK, says we are the bad actor here. We are the aggressor. And sadly, we are. Now, there is one upside here. As bad of a player as the Iranian regime has been, there are more and more reports that they actually see through the bluster from Trump and recognize this as goading from Trump and a deliberate provocation, and hopefully they're smart enough not to take the bait. I do not support the Iranian regime, even 1%. But we can't allow another dumb Middle East war to get going. And hopefully, as a combination of American elected officials who are seeing this clearly, and maybe Iran recognizing this for the deliberate provocation that it is, we might be able to keep the United States out of another one of these endless and pointless military engagements in the Middle East. Let me know what you think. I'm on Twitter at @dpakman. The show is on Twitter at David Pakman Show. Today's sponsor is Skillshare, and I'm excited to tell you that everybody in our audience is getting 2 entire months of free access to Skillshare when you click the link underneath this video. Skillshare is the site that offers over 25,000 online courses on almost any topic you can imagine: cooking, meditation, photography, video editing, Photoshop, managing a small business, almost an endless list. And whether you're trying to get ahead in your career, maybe you want to learn new skills that will make you better at your job, you might just be exploring a new hobby and you're trying to find new ways to be creative in your personal time, Skillshare's the perfect place to fully immerse yourself in whatever you're trying to learn. I really enjoyed the class on more advanced video editing techniques because it's something I've been wanting to improve at, but have been very busy hosting the David Pakman Show for the last few years. Once again, the David Pakman Show is giving you 2 whole months of access to every single class offered by Skillshare. After those 2 months, if you want to keep your subscription, Skillshare's super affordable at less than $10 a month. Get better at whatever it is that you're passionate about, or discover something brand new that you didn't even know that you would love, and join Skillshare's other 7 million users by clicking the link underneath this video.